It's no secret that Ethereal Springs is up to its ears in places people just don't mess with. However, one of these places has a neighbor who is finally showing off some Halloween spirit. Will it remain quiet, or will there be some unquiet halls? Ethereal Springs was always its liveliest at Halloween. Parades, cookouts, parties, and all the trick-or-treating the children could want filled the entire month of October. There was even a fireworks display on Halloween night in the town's largest park. Tourists and locals could even enjoy reenactments of the old ways of celebrating Halloween. The degree of Halloween spirit varied from household to household. Not that there weren't the occasional nuts who felt they were doing their neighborhoods good, trying to harass neighbors about their decorations. One house didn't have to worry about anyone having issues with its decorations. Alone on its side of the street, the only neighbor, a massive abandoned mansion, sat a fairly large ranch-style house. This house was fairly new, less than 5 years old, and getting its first taste of Halloween events. Sitting in the center of a 20-acre plot, the owner was hard at work preparing necessary areas for this year's festivities. Many Ethereal Springs residents began the following year's planning as they worked on the current year's events. Looks like there's finally enough space to get serious, Vinnie and Kodi said, pouring himself some iced tea. Hopefully, Vinnie agreed, fixing his ponytail. It's taken a few years to get enough land cleared, but I think it's workable for at least a couple things for the kids this year. I think I'll put the areas out front, then on the west side and the east side. Barbecue pit is already out back, so I'll just fire it up for burgers and stuff. S'mores, hot dogs, and burgers while loading up on sugar. Kodi laughed. Sounds like a grand old time to me. Question is, what are you going to fill those areas with? He reminded Vinnie. Well, I already got a start on that, Vinnie said, standing to head to his garage. He turned to the table carrying a wooden shipping box and placed it on the table. Check these out. There were glass tombstones inside, some filled with water, and others seemed unremarkable. Vinnie flipped the switch on one, causing it to light up and some sort of bleeding effect to take place in the water, similar to that of a bleeding Halloween costume mask. Some had various light effects, while others had moving components such as scurrying spiders and whatnot. There were a couple dozen of the decorations in total, enough for a small section of the property to become a graveyard. As if Kodi's jaw needed to be even closer to the floor, Vinnie revealed that there were even a few skeletons, trees, and animals with similar features as a set of grave markers to go with them. That wasn't the only thing Vinnie had in his garage. There was enough stuff for a small maze, a witch's cabin scene complete with witch and cauldron, a haunted Wild West saloon scene, and many other options. Kodi stood there shaking his head while Vinnie laughed at the expression on his friend's face. Vinnie hadn't expected everything he had now when he had placed his order. Whether it was luck or something else, the people who had been recommended to him were having issues recently and had opted to give him more than enough to completely decorate his yard. The two men wasted no time getting started with their work, both excited to see what they could do with Vinnie's yard. Yo, Vinnie, is it just me, or does the manor look even creepier than usual? Kodi asked, looking at the mansion. What? The mansion definitely looked a lot creepier, and perhaps even more sinister than it had earlier in the day. The entire property looked as if a gigantic, thick storm cloud was hovering directly over it, darkening every object, nook, and cranny of the place in more ways than one, despite the sky above being absolutely clear. The very air stretching across that side of the road seemed colder, a light fog rising on the ground surrounding the old stone structure. The sight was enough to have both grown men shivering where they stood, staring and wondering what had caused this sudden change and the mysterious abandoned residence. Vinnie didn't know what was going on with that old place. It hadn't ever shown signs it was haunted before, and why it was doing so now was the loudest question in his mind. It wasn't surprising that it was haunted, as most of the properties in and around Ethereal Springs were. The fact that it seemed to choose to remain dormant was the surprise. No one ever dared bother the place, as it was pretty much impossible to get past the trees surrounding it, and finding a trail would take too long. He tried to shrug it off and focus on getting his Halloween plans on schedule, but had a difficult time of it. The nervous atmosphere seemed to reach beyond the property lines, causing Vinnie and Kodi to wish Halloween would just hurry up and be over already. As the preparations progressed into celebrations, the atmosphere emanating from the old stone structure was nearly forgotten. Laughter, chatter, screams of children having the time of their lives seemed to be just enough to mostly and temporarily distract from the growing maliciousness of the once grand estate. Vinnie and his teammates, all decked out in various costumes, rotated positions, manning the barbecue pit and the different activities for the children's age groups. Questions about how Vinnie managed to create the effects circled around, and, fed up with giving the truth and people thinking he had done something illegal, Vinnie began daring his friends to go see for themselves. Soon, a drone equipped with night vision cameras was hovering around the decrepit site. No fog machines, wires, cords, or any other sign that anyone alive was pulling any tricks, nor had illegally decorated the centuries-old structure, could be seen on the screen. The windows, though cracked and dirty from neglect, showed no signs of anyone inside either. It seemed as though the building was indeed sealed tight against all entry. As the malicious little machine made its way up and down to each floor and around each side, there was nothing remarkable about it. Everyone was quickly accepting Vinnie's answers to the questions one by one. Just as one window on the rear of the building came into view, a shadow appeared, rushing toward the window and banging on it. Something certainly has that old house really active. Does it hate Vinnie's decorations, or could it be something a bit less obvious? Whatever it is, that entity doesn't like it one bit. Stay tuned for more stories. You never know when light will break through the shadows. Slap that subscribe button and hook that rope to the bell so you'll be notified when there is a new piece to the puzzle hidden within the series. If you liked the story, hit those like and share buttons so others can enjoy the mystery as it unfolds. Leave a comment if you wish. I'm always looking for ways to improve the quality of my writing. The link to merch is right down below in the description and on my channel's banner links. Remember, life would be boring without a few scares.